Hello, as we have already started that, what are the different methods of groundwater exploration? So today we'll be studying the a new technique that is used for groundwater exploration. Okay, so I'll be sharing my entire screen. Can you see my slides?
Yes, sir.
So today we'll be studying remote sensing technique and GIS for groundwater exploration and detection of non-natural recharge. So there are two techniques right now I'm talking about. One is remote sensing and another one is GIS. So whenever I'm talking about remote sensing, I'm talking about satellite-based data products where we'll be using the different kinds of satellite images taken from different satellites, different sensor types, different working principles, whether that is the geostationary satellites or sun synchronous satellites. Then we'll be taking the various distal elevation models. So those all techniques will be classified under remote sensing category, and the GIS includes geographical information system where we'll be storing the data, we'll be capturing the data, we'll be analyzing the data, we'll be manipulating the data to display the results of the sites where we are going for the groundwater exploration and detection using the various kinds of modeling tools that are available in GIS. So there are different software made for different applications, like if you want to work in digital image processing, if you want to work in satellite image processing, you will be using the intergraph hexagon ADAS imaging, and for GIS you will be using QGIS, that is quantum GIS, that is a community based software, that is a open software, and the other one is ArcGIS that is manufactured by Esri for the detection and delineation of this groundwater exploration. Okay, can you see my slides? So I'll go with the introduction. Can you see the slides? So I'll go with the introduction. Water is the elixir of life, a precious gift of nature to the mankind and other species in the world. Already know that. It has been established that the total quantity of water on this planet is constant, and it will be constant under the moving and changing from one physical state to the another, as depicted in the hydrological cycle that we have already studied for creating of more water. So the total availability is fixed. So we know that what is the total amount of water that is coming to us, that is fixed in nature. And the present problem is to identify the existing resources and their proper utilization. So the source is fixed, the amount is fixed. Now what we have to do, what is the challenge, what is the technology, what is the science, where it will be applied? We have to identify the existing resources. Okay, what are the existing resources and how that can be properly utilized. So nowadays you will be hearing the term sustainable development goals. So that is all the meaning of sustainability we are talking about of various resources. Not only that, we are also looking for the economical extraction and intelligent utilization of water resources, which are crucial for the development program of any country. So you will see that India is having a good amount of fresh water, drinking water, and that's why we are able to manufacture our world. Our water is one of the best in the world in terms of its mineral composition, in terms of purity. Ganges is one of the most purest river of the world, and it has got its mythological existence is there, religious extension is there. So even the advanced countries possessing plentiful water resources have started realizing the need of careful planning in conservation, utilization, and management of water. So as I am saying that Ganga is one of the purest Satluj is one of the purest. Brahmaputra is one of the purest. But what we human beings are doing, because our population is increasing, because of our needs are increasing, we are going on polluting this purest water of the world. And one day it will be there that you cannot use this water for any kind of utilization. So until unless you are not planning it, you are not conserving it, you are not properly managing it, you are degrading the natural resources. So using a science and technology, we are going to preserve this our resource. So our water resource are under pressure. So you can see that because our population is increasing, there are limited resources because only 4 months of water is there in the entire year, and that 4 month also nowadays, because of the change in the climate, you are not getting the water. So what you have to do, you have to explore your underground water. So that's why the population is increasing day by day and the resources is depleting. So until unless you are not properly conserving it, you're not properly utilizing it, you're not going to select the new resources, then it will be quite tough to handle this pressure. So it's the time to give a solution. So solution is, we have taken a case study of a particular region so that you can understand how this technology, that is remote sensing and GIS, can be used for groundwater exploration. So I've taken a study of Tamil Nadu, that is a district in India with 7 to 4% of populations. The available water resources are 3% of the country. The average rainfall is 925 mm against the average rainfall of 1170 mm of the country. So you can see that the average of the country is 1170, means this is the minimum you can say, or the average. And if you're getting below the average, means your population is high, your demand is high, but your recharge is less. Means what it is stating? It is stating that you are having a tremendous pressure on your underground water resources. So if you are not conserving it, if you're not utilizing it, if you're not using some scientific technique, you'll have a big challenge to sustain this entire population, because you cannot live without water, you cannot sustain without water. So it varies from 120 mm near the coastal areas to 5 mm in the inland areas. So along the coast, it is because that state is having both the coastal land areas as well as the inland areas. So if you go to the inland areas, you will see that out of 1170 mm of the country, only you're receiving 550 mm, means it is half of what it is expected. So if it is a half, we have got a big population. So how you are going to sustain those population? Where will that persons who are living in that area will get water for drinking, will get water for irrigation, will get water for animals? So how to sustain? So what you have to do, you have to conserve this water, you have to increase, you have to recharge your underground water, so that even if the amount of water is less, if you get you have got a good scientific practices that you are handling in that area, you can easily manage the entire resources in that area. So if you go there, in Tamil Nadu there are 34 rivers which are flowing, including major and minor rivers. There are four rivers, so they are flowing all around. So you will be seeing this is the location map of that area where we have taken the study, and then we are showing the area with their watershed boundary. So this is the star geographical latitude and longitude of that area, and we'll be using the remote sensing and GIS for identification of the groundwater recharge. So first, what we are preparing, first we'll be identifying all the drainages that are flowing in that area, whether that is a minor drainage or major drainage. Once we'll be digitizing it using the satellite images, using the aerial photographs, using the Survey of India topographical sheets, will be identifying each and every streams, each and every drainages, each and every river that is flowing in that watershed. Once you have identified that drainages, you will be creating a drainage density map. So drainage density maps represents the amount of runoff that is being generated in that particular area. So you see that the line shows the major river, and then you have got ranges that is from 0 to 31, 31 to 66, 66 to 1, 1 to 1.43. So what is that are indicative of? That is indicative of the amount of runoff in which area the amount of runoff is high, in which area the amount of runoff is low. So if you are situated in any area, like you're situated at X and Y in any area, or you have been given a task to manage the water resources in any area, so first you should know where is the recharge high, where is the recharge low, which is the area which are under tremendous pressure. So all such thing can be represented, especially using the help of remote sensing and GIS technique, where the different color combination is assigned to different parcels of land, so that you can classify those parcels of land according to their runoff characteristics. So by seeing the current map, you can easily identify that which area is under tremendous amount of runoff is there, and in which area the runoff is low. Next comes lineament density. What does lineament density suggest? Lineaments are linear alignment of features where we'll be getting the highest possibility of water, because in hard rock terrain, if you go that, you have got three different rock types: sedimentary, metamorphic, and igneous. So sedimentary rocks, there the porosity and permeability is high. If it has got different bedding planes, you'll be getting good amount of recharge. But when it comes to hard rock terrain like igneous and metamorphic, there the water porosity and permeability is low. So you have to identify the different lineaments, you have to identify the different fractures where from the seepage will occur. So more the lineament, more the density value is there, means more is the possibility of recharge into the underground water table in that area. So using the satellite images and GIS, will be identifying each and every lineament that is existing in that area. Will be identifying the smaller lineaments, minor lineaments, major lineaments, and will be creating the networks of lineament from the given satellite images. And thereafter, using the interpolation techniques in the GIS software, we'll be creating the lineament density map, where you can see that there are different ranges coming up with respects to lineament. So more the value is, the more is that area having the possibility of recharge. So you can see that this is a hard rock terrain, and once you have created a map, this symbology or the legends indicates in which terrain does they belong to, whether they are belonging to a high recharge zone, or whether they are belonging to low recharge zone, whether where is the areas, which are the areas which are going to have high recharge, which are the areas which are going to have low recharge. So on the basis of the color combination with their exact spatial location, so right now we are denoting that area in terms of color, and they are representing their underground and surface characteristics. So by seeing the color, because that is connected to a spatial location, we are not only providing a color by our own means or by our own needs, that are created, that are generated using scientific methods, using scientific techniques with a logic. The logic was we wanted to identify the area where we'll be getting the high recharge, or where we'll be coming up with new recharge sites. So for that, these layers are very primary and very basics that has to be created in order to understand the dynamics of river in that area. So not only your water depends on your runoff, your water depends on lineament, your water also depends on the soil type. So where there will be a more porosity and permeability, you are going to have a good amount of underground water table in that area, and where the porosity and permeability is low, so there the amount of recharge will be less. So depending on the different soil type, you will have different kinds of recharge. So you have to classify each and every parcel of your land so that you can comment on the amount of recharge that is going to happen in that particular area. So you can see that using the NBSS, that is National Bureau of Soil Survey and Land Use Planning, that is the department that looks after the various classification of soil types in India. So using that type, using those maps were georeference, thereafter they were brought to the spatial dimension, and then using the satellite remote sensing were used to map and identify each and every parcel of land according to their soil map, soil texture, soil type. And using that, you can see that in the current area, you can classify that the entire area is classified under alluvial soil, black soil, reserve forest, then thin red soil, brown soil, pluvial and alluvial, red calcareous, then red non-calcareous. So these are the various kinds of soil types that are present in your area of investigation. So that's why remote sensing is very important, because you can see that especially by seeing the map, we can comment and you can see whether that area where we are looking up, what are the various kinds of soil types or the soil that is available in that area. Thereafter, the groundwater recharge depends on your geology. Geology is the different kinds of lithologs or the different kinds of rock types that are available in that area, because each and every rock types has got different porosity and permeability. That is again connected to what is the amount of recharge that is going to happen in that area, where the area of investigation is having a high recharge or whether it is having a low recharge. So using the satellite images, we'll be identifying the different kinds of rock types. So we'll be taking the GSI map, that is Geological Survey of India map, as a reference, and using those maps we'll be georeferencing it with our satellite image, and thereafter we'll be updating the different kinds of geological map to prepare a composite geomorphological or geological map using the satellite images, and we'll be using the GIS technique to identify each and every unit, each and every unit in that area. So you can see that we have classified the entire area into different geological types, that by seeing the current map you can see which are the area which are having the basic rocks, which are the area having genesis, limestone, granite and gneiss. So why it's important? Because when you say about valley fill, the amount of recharge will be different from granite. Granite will have a different recharge from limestone. Limestone will have a different recharge with under classified genesis. So identification of each and every parcel of geology is very important to understand the geogenesis of the amount of recharge that is going to happen in that area. And satellite images and the remote sensing and GIS techniques are the best techniques which are used to classify, map, quantify statistically. Like now, whatever map I have shown till now, you can easily calculate the area. Okay, what is the area of basic rock, what is the area of granite rock, what is the area of genesis. So you'll be also performing the statistical analysis, not only seeing the spatial dimension of the distribution of various soil types or lineament density, drainage density, and geology. And all these layers, what why we are creating, because each and every layer has got its own importance when you come for groundwater exploration. Because if you are going for groundwater recharge, and if you are not considering your soil model, maybe your model or the recharge what you are saying can fail. If you are not looking about the linear density, again your model can fail. Again, if you are not looking about your geology, your model can fail. So that's why each and every thematic layer has got its own positive correlation with the groundwater recharge. So, whenever you are going for any kind of research in any area, first you have to identify each and every parameter, each and every factors that are responsible for the groundwater recharge, and thereafter you will be using the remote sensing and GIS technique to quantify, to spatially map, to statistically generate the area composition, and that is near 200% accurate according to your scientific logic. Getting it? Yeah, anybody please unmute and say right now it's clear till now. Shall I proceed?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next comes geomorphological map. Why this? Again, I have said that whenever you are going for any kinds of groundwater exploration, you have to identify each and every factors which are responsible for the groundwater dynamics or the river water dynamics. Because when you are saying of geomorphology, means we are trying to identify the landforms which are responsible or which has each and every landforms has got different characteristics. Maybe a particular landform you'll getting a high amount of recharge, and in any particular landforms you'll get low recharge. So until unless you are not quantify it, you are not mapping it spatially, you cannot overlay all this map together in the GIS domain so as to get the primary unit or the area where you can go for the groundwater recharge. So, in order to understand the exact location where you will be going for your recharge site, for construction of reservoir, for construction of check dams, nala bunds, first you have to identify each and every forms, factors which are responsible for holding the water. So, using the satellite images, we'll be using the different classifying the geomorphological maps, whether that is Piedmonts, whether that is denudational hills, floodplains, paleo sand dunes, pigments, residential hills, buried pediplains, structural hills, valley fields. So nowadays you are seeing that remote sensing and GIS technique is readily used in geology, is readily used in geography, is readily used in civil engineering, is a very important tool for environmental science, because this is a tool that has to be applied for any kind of investigation. So by using that tool, now you can easily identify each and every parcel of land, what are the different kinds of landforms, and once you have identified the landforms, you can predict about the future. That's why the each and every satellite images provides those information. We have got a high collection of satellite images that are available from 1972 till date, and we can use those satellite images for creation of various kinds of geomorphological, geological, structural, surface water, underground water. All the informations are clearly manufactured, are clearly captured by using the satellite images. So we'll be using those images. Each and every landforms has got its own characteristics. We'll be identifying those characteristics in the satellite imagery, and we'll be classifying those landforms using the remote sensing and GIS technique. So whenever you will be seeing that your PG students who are pursuing your MSc geoinformatics or MTech geoinformatics, or who are continuing research in GIS and remote sensing, they are particularly focused on their whether you go for visual interpretation or digital interpretation or modeling. So all those things we are teaching them in detail when you will be doing your PG, about the satellite characteristics, how you are going to identify each and every unit using the satellite images for creation of various kinds of layers, whatever we are stating. Next comes slope map. Slope is also important because your runoff depends on slope. So the remote sensing, that is digital elevation models, that we are using it for creation of various kinds of slope map. that are free of cost for remote sensing guides with a spatial resolution of 30 meter, where you have got SRTM with a 90 meter or 30 meter spatial resolution. Then you have got Aster GDM with a 30 meter spatial resolution, and then you have got Cartosat that is being downscales to 30 meter resolution provided by ISRO, Government of India, but through Bhuvan portal, where you can download the digital elevation model of entire India. So this digital elevation models are indicatives of contours. Contours are imaginary line joining the heights of the same area. So by uh, seeing the height, you can say whether your area is having what kind of slope, whether that is a hilly, whether that is a plateau, whether that is plain, which are the areas which are having high height, which are the area which are having low height. So right now, if I see you to measure the height of your area, it will be quite tough to do it, because you will be requiring some instrumentation. You have to go into the field, and then you have to create the different models, and then you will be stating the height of that area. But in remote sensing, you have got various data sets where you can easily download it. You can download it, and you can create the surface topography of that area, and that has got a 100% precision in terms of their location, in terms of their exaggeration, in terms of their accuracy. So those maps can be used for creation of slope map in that area. Next one is land use land cover maps. This is one of the most important maps that has to be prepared whenever you're going for any groundwater or any kinds of investigation. So whenever you're using the remote sensing and GIS techniques, our prima focus is to get the land use land cover classification in that area. So what does land use and land cover classification means? Land use is all the utilities that the human being use on the ground or the land is classified on the category that is called as land use, and all the features that are natural in nature on the earth are classified under land cover. Means forest, water, hills, then various kinds of landforms that are natural, agricultures and the other activities, buildings, all the things that we have created will be classified under land use. So the satellite images are readily used in each and every study, because if you want to study what was the situation in 1970, what was situation in 1980, what was in 1900, 2000, 2010, 2020, and what can be in future if it goes into the same scenario, because you want to evaluate each and every parcel of land, what will be the urbanization pattern. So it all depends on your satellite imaging. So that's why it's very important to use satellite images for various kinds of geological investigation, not only for hydrogeology, it's for climatology, it's for urban dynamics, it's for forest dynamics. So using the satellite images, using the various techniques, either we say visual interpretation or digitally, we'll be classifying each and every parcel of land that is indicative of the land use category that it belongs to. So using the satellite images, you can see that each and every parcel of land is classified, which are the area which is under water body, which are the area which are under agricultural land, scrub forest, land with dense scrub, land with scrub, forested area, dense forested area, what are the build up area of open forest. So by seeing the color combination, by seeing the color code, you can spatially map with 100% accuracy of each and every parcel of land can be classified under the various land use land cover classification. That's why we'll be using the remote sensing and GIS for classification of these maps. So now we have taken 5 to 6 layer. You can take lot of layers, that depends on the kind of investigation that you want to do. What are the layers? Right now we have taken few basic layers that can be used for understanding of this groundwater recharge. Now last is identification of groundwater potential zone, which are the area where we have got a potential zones. So remote sensing and GIS is the best leading tools, as I've already stated, which helps in your assessing, monitoring, and conserving the groundwater resources. So, analysis of remote sensing data along with Survey of India topographical sheets and the other collateral maps like GSI maps, then NBSS maps, watershed maps, and other maps from the various departments will be taken into consideration for generating the information for the groundwater targeting. So, in the present study, we have taken geology, geomorphology, slope, drainage density, lineament density, land use, land cover maps for the preparation of groundwater potential zone. So, what we'll do, the biggest beauty of this GIS technique is all these thematic layers right now, what we are stating, whether we are stating geology, geomorphology, all are independent in nature. But when it comes to GIS, we'll be specially overlaying each and every layers with each other to come to a final conclusion which are the areas where we can go for the groundwater potential zone. So, the geology, geomorphology, slope, drainage density, lineament, rainfall, water level, all will be prepared for creating of a layer for groundwater exploration. So when we are going for that, we will be using some scientific logic or some scientific model for creation of this composite maps for creation of this groundwater exploration. So the model for the current study, what we'll be using is weighted index overlay analysis. So what we are going to do, we are going to overlay each and every layer over each other. So what does this model does or does? The occurrence and the movement of groundwater in area is controlled by various factors already stated. The influence of all factors need to be the same in the area. So that has to be brought into common dimension. Therefore, each parameter was assigned a weightage depending on its influence towards the movement and storage of water. So what we are going to do now in weightage index overlay analysis, what we are trying to do, we are trying to put the weights, we are trying to put the ranks, we are trying to put a value. That value denotes the amount of influence that factor has in groundwater recharge. If more is the weightage, means that has more amount of quality and quantity to hold groundwater. If it has got low value, means that has got low quantity of holding the water. So weightage for the major relationship between the two factors were assigned 1, and the weighted with the minor relationship between the two factors were assigned 0.5. So highest weight was given with 1, lowest weight was given with 0.5. And finally, the total weights of each factor represents the weight of groundwater potential and non-natural recharge. So the occurrence and the movement of groundwater in any area is controlled by various factors that already we have stated, and the influence of all parameters need to be same in the same area. So that has to be same in the same area. Therefore, each parameter is assigned a rank on the influence on the movement and the storage of water. The parameter has been classified into 5 zones. The percentage of influence for groundwater zone and score of each recharge was calculated as 100 multiplied by the weight of the recharge potential divided by the total weight of each recharge, and then we'll be classifying it. So this is the amount of relationship that we have stated. That is, we want to say, like, we have created an index which has got what weight, which has got the major effect, which has got the minor effect. So we'll be classifying it like geology has got a major effect with drainage density because that has got highest relationship. In the same way, we'll be creating for linear density, land use, geomorphology, slope, soil, and all these things will be minutely analyzed, scientifically judged to provide a weight. So on the basis of this, you can see that if you consider the factor geology, if you consider geology with the relationship where it has got major relationship and with whom he has got minor relationship. So when it comes to geology, drainage density and linear means are directly having a major relationship with geology, but when it comes to land use, land cover, it has got minor. So if I give one and one weight to drainage density and lineament, that will be 2, and if I give weight to land use land cover zero point 0.5, that makes weight 2.5. So 1 and 1 2 plus zero point 0.5, that makes the weight is 2.4. Again, lineament density, again it has got major relationship with drainage and minor relationship with land use land cover. So again, if I give weight 1 to drainage density and land use land cover 0.5, that makes 1.5. Now, land use land cover, major relationship is with drainage density, minor relationship with slope, geology, and soil. So, one is for drainage density and zero point 0.5 is to slope, geology, and soil. So, 1.5 plus 1, that makes 2.5. Now, when it comes to geomorphology, that has got major relationship with slope, geology, and drainage density, and minor relationship with land use, land cover, and soil. So 1 plus 1 plus 1, that makes 3.5, and zero point 0.5, that makes 4. Again, soil with land use, land cover, and geomorphology, major relationship, minor with geology, drainage, and density, that makes 1 and 1, zero point 0.5 and 0.53. Then drainage density, that has got major relationship with only land use, land cover, and slope, that makes 2. And finally, slope with land use, land cover, geomorphology, and finally with drainage density, that makes it 2.5. So once you have identified this, now it's for non-natural recharge site. Again, you will be finding the same principle and you will be providing the weightage to each and every unit, whatever you have classified in your map using the GIS and remote sensing techniques, and then we'll be providing the weights to these layers individually. And finally, we'll be preparing a confluensive accumulative factor, that is what is the groundwater recharge potential for geology, that is 13, lineaments 9, land use 15, geomorphology 20, soil 15. So this is the amount of influence that is going to happen for groundwater potential, and this is the amount of percentage of influence that is going to happen for the non-natural recharge sites. Now, upon the weightage, now we are providing the individual layer ranks to all the units that we have individually classified in the GIS domain, that you have seen that we have classified. Now we'll be providing those ranks to those each and every units, and finally you'll be providing with the fuzzy logic ranks. We'll be doing it statistically using modeling it using the GIS remote sensing techniques, and finally we'll be creating the ranks for each and every layer. What are the ranks? So you can see all these statistical relationships that will be performing it using the layers that we have generated in GIS, and then we'll be providing the ranks to each and every unit that we have classified. And finally, we'll be coming up with the final ranks of each and every unit of that area pertaining to the classification that we are going to do. And finally, we'll be preparing a composite groundwater potential map. So you see that using all the layers that we have generated previously, we have overlaid it using some scientific weightage overlay method, where assigned each and every unit were assigned with a weight according to its potential, and finally we have classified it. So you can see that which are the area which has got good potential, which are the area which have got very good, which are the area under moderate, and which are under the area under moderate and good. And this is the map that has been prepared with all the maps of, this is the output map you can say, and all the input maps were the maps that we have already studied in our previous slide. So using that, you can take out what is the total area, what is the total amount of area, that is what is the amount of percentage, what are their validation, and finally we'll be validating it on the field, and we'll go into the check into the field. We'll have a pumping, will be extracting, will be checking it physically on the ground, whatever statistics that we have stated is positive or negative. So you can see that maximum places we had got a positive correlation with all the methods that we stated generally, and this is the other map prepared for the natural recharge site map. So which are the areas where we can go for the recharge sites, and you can see which are the area where we'll be going for lineaments, rewards, artificial recharge sites. So if you are going for this recharge sites, these lineaments will help us to go or get more porosity and permeability, and finally you can see a good moderate to good and moderate groundwater recharge in that area. And finally you can come with the various kinds of models using this above techniques to prepare this map. So this is a outflow of the different layers, how it will be done using the MATLAB software, how you'll be preparing each and every unit, and finally how you'll be coming to that rank. Hello, got it?